Now we come to IGCSE 2023, October and November, Additional Mathematics, Paper 2, Set 1. Question number 1. This time is about quadratic function. And first, part A, we need to make this form into the form of a times bracket x plus b squared plus c, where a, b, and c are all integers. So obviously we need to make use of the completing the square this skill. I just wrote it here. So first things first, I would suggest you to transfer it into the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is -3, b is -12, and then c is +19. And then we need to take out the coefficient of x squared, which is a. So here I will just divide all the terms by -3. Divide all the terms by -3, you will get this. And we may have some fraction here, it's still okay. Then we need to add something and then minus the same thing. Add what kind of thing? It should be the coefficient of x divided by 2 and then bracket square and minus the same thing. So here, because the coefficient of x inside the bracket is +4, so we need to add +4 divided by 2 bracket square and minus the same thing, such that the third step and the second step is the same. So now we have 5 terms. For the first 3 terms, you can combine them into a bracket square. So here, for the first 3 terms, it will be a bracket square, which is x, because the purple sign is a plus, so we have a plus inside the bracket. And then for the red bracket, inside this is 4/2, and then I just write 4 first, and then this square and the minus, well, because it's a minus 4 for the red number, so you just calculate the red number, and then finally by the black one, the -19 divided by 3, and then we can simplify this thing. For 4/2, you have 2, so the bracket should be like this. And then for -4 and -19/3, you just use your calculator and you get this number. And finally, because we need to transfer it into the form of this, so for the a, -3, you need to multiply back into these 2 things. So finally, you should get something like this. -3 times the bracket square, and then for -3 times this -31/3, you get +31. So compared with this, a should be -3, and then b is +2, while z is +31, and that's for part A. Once we have finished part A, part B will be easy. This part B, we need to find the maximum value of this function and also the value of x when it is maximum. So recap that from part A, we have already done that. This form should be like this. So when it is maximum, actually it's just the value of c. So the maximum value should be +31. And then when will be the maximum? It is just when the bracket is equal to 0. So how do we do it? For maximum value, it should be +31. And for the value of x, we just let it to be 0. Let this bracket to be 0. So x must be -2. So we have finished part B. Now we come to part C. So here we need to solve an equation with some surd form inside it. But it is quite similar to what we have met in part A, you see? But how can we change it? We can just let x to be square root u. So we can change it into the form that we have already done. So for the left hand side, it's just similar, it's just the same as part A, so we can make it into the form of this. So the left hand side becomes this, and then now solving this, we can just minus the 31 to the right hand side, and then divide the -3 to the right hand side, and then now we can take the square root. But remember, when we take square root, we should have positive and negative 2 values. So I will write this 2. And then finally, you also need to -2 to both hands. So the answer should be -2 plus square root of 31 over 3, or negative 2 minus the square root of 31 over 3. However, we don't want to find the value of x only. We want to find the value of u. So here we need to substitute back x is square root u into this two answers. So square root u is this, or square root u is that. Then we can take square on both hands. So we can have something like this. U can be this bracket square or that bracket square. And then you just use your calculator, you will have two answers. So be 1.48 or 27.1. However, I've rejected this one. Why? Alright, because remember when we are handling something about the surd form, we need to check all the answers, which means we need to substitute back into the original function. So here I just check for 1.48. Alright, this number type it in, we will have 0. So this one is correct answer. However, when we check for the 27.1, put it in, oh, you have negative 125, which is not 0. So actually this answer is incorrect. So we need to reject this answer. So the final answer is just 1.48. And this is question number 1. Thank you.